What a game it is. After watching this game, you are going to say this once, what a game it was. The game is between Raymond Keene versus Kenneth J. Bowyer. The game is from the London Country match, played in 1963, 9th of November. The game is very old, definitely played in 1963, but the game is very interesting. And all those players who plays the Slav defense, I think this game is definitely for you. Okay, so all the positional players, get ready to see this exciting game. Okay, so till then, stay tuned and keep watching Chess Vibes. So Raymond Keene with the white pieces started the game with 1d4, and Kenneth with the black pieces replied with d5. We have c4, c6, so pretty Slav defense, and now we have Saint d5. Saint d5, so we have the Slav defense exchange variation. Knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, and now we have bishop to f5. And all the positional player who plays the positional play, or they like to play the positional play, definitely you can see just by the position that it's a completely positional play match, because once we have this Slav exchange variation, it's completely positional. And okay, and this is actually one of the best line which Magnus Carlsen used to play. And after bishop to f5, white responded with bishop to f4, developing the piece. We have e6, e3, knight to d7, and now we have knight to e5 by white. Yep, a very natural approach going with the knight in. White can also play bishop d3 in the position, trading off the bishops. But okay, he chose knight to e5. And after knight e5, black played bishop to b4. A very natural response from the black side, wasting no time to capture the knight, but developing the final minor piece in the game. And now getting ready for the castle. So after bishop to b4, white replied with g4. And after g4, the idea is very clear. White is hitting the bishop on f5. And if black tries to go back, then perhaps white can even push g5, or he can even play h4. Plan is to play h5, hit the bishop. So after g4, black played bishop into c3 check, b into c3, and now we have knight into e5 by black, just capturing the knight. And now white is having options. He can capture this knight on e5, or he can capture the bishop on f5. So if he captures the knight on e5, then after knight into g4, white is a pawn down. So definitely white is forced to capture the bishop on f5. And after g into f5, black played knight to c6. Reason is very simple. You cannot capture the pawn on f5 because the knight is hanging on e5. That's for knight to c6. And now we have rook to g1 by white. A very nice idea. After a rook to g1, white is simply hitting the pawn on g7. And after rook g1, can you try to find the move which black played in the game? And please tell me what looks the most natural move in this position. What should black play in the position? So hold on, try to find the best move for black in the position. So I think you have a good deep thought, and you would have come with the idea of castling. Yep, castle looks the most natural move, but definitely many players get afraid of seeing this bishop to h6. Yep, this pawn on g7 is just incredibly attacked, and you cannot play g6 because the rook is hanging. So actually, black is having a fine position after this, because after bishop h6, black can play knight to e8, protecting the pawn on g7. And after queen to h5, now white is threatening to capture the pawn with the bishop on g7, because after knight into g7, white can play queen h6, hitting the knight on g7 with the rook and the queen, and the game is over. So black is forced to play knight to e7, and after bishop into g7, knight into g7, f6, hitting both the knights, knight g6, f into g7, king into g7. It's a fine position. Definitely white is having an edge because the king on g7 is already weak, but it's a fair result. But what happened in the game, after many players are afraid of like seeing bishop h6 and they just stop the line. So that's why after rook g1, Kenneth with the black pieces played king to f8. Very hard to find, but yep, this is the move. After king f8, the idea is very simple. Now black is having no worry of playing bishop h6 because black will simply capture the bishop. And now the king on f8 is already protecting the pawn on g7, so no problem. So after king f8, it was actually blunder. Castle would have been a much better move. But after king f8, white played queen b3, giving no time to black, hitting the pawn on b7. So after queen b3, black responded with queen d7, protecting the pawn on b7. We have queen a3 check, and now we have knight to e7. At the place of playing queen a3 check, a much better move would have been to play in the position rook to b1. And rook b1 idea is very simple. Now white is simply hitting the pawn on b7. So after b6, white can play queen a3 check, knight e7, and now we have rook into b6, capturing the pawn. So now actually black is having nothing much to do. He have to capture the rook because some rook d6 threats are coming up. So after a into b6, queen into a8 check, queen to c8, and white can simply went back with queen a3. And white is already better in the position. Just look at this terribly weak game on f8. White can simply come up with the bishop on d6, and I think white is already a pawn up. Okay, so definitely a winning position for white. But this didn't happen in the game, and at the place of playing rook b1, white played queen a3 check. We have knight e7, and now we have f into e6, capturing up the pawn. F into e6, and now we have rook to b1 by white. Yep, idea is very simple. Putting some pressure on the pawn on b7. Black played king f7, and now idea is very simple. He wants to get his another rook on the game on the queen side because all the play is happening on the queen side. So now we have bishop to b5 by white, knight c6, king e2. Okay, we have a6. So now black is asking, do you want to go back to d3 or do you want to capture the knight? White simply captured the knight. And after capturing the knight, here black is having two options. He can capture the bishop with the pawn or he can capture the bishop with the queen. So this is the most important question in the whole game. That which makes the game going to say, wow, what a game. So hold on this moment, pause the video and try to find the only move for black to make the position to make the game ongoing, or else black is going to be over on the spot. You have to capture the bishop. I'm giving you the hint, but from which piece you are going to capture the bishop? You're going to capture the bishop with the pawn, or are you going to capture the bishop with the queen? So what is your answer? So pause the video, try to find the best move. Okay, so I think you must have had a great thought about it, and all those players who come up with the move queen into c6, sorry, this is the wrong answer. The right move would have been to capture the bishop with the pawn on b7, and after something like white can play bishop to e5, and okay, white is still better, like it gives it like +2 advantage for white side, but at least playable position. But queen into c6 was played, and all those who must have thought that pawn takes would be much better at the place of queen takes, then I think you must have got the answer that why queen into c6 was a wrong move. Definitely not an easy move to find, not at all. I think in the game the probability of missing this move is like 99%. If you would have found this move, congratulations. I mean, wow. Rook into b7, rook into g7 check. What a move. You cannot go back with the king because it's queen e7 game over. You have to capture the rook, it's a force. And now we have queen e7 check, king g6, rook g1 check, king to h5. It doesn't matter if you try to go to f5 because it's still rook g5 game, rook g5 king e4 and f3 game over. And even Rook e5 is also game over. So we have king h5, queen to f7 check, and after queen f7 check on the move number 23, black already resigned. Answer is very clear, because if you try to play king h4, it's still mate into queen into f6 check. Black is having two options. If he tries to go to king to h5, queen g5 is a mate, and if black tries to go to h3, then it's queen h6, game over, checkmate. So yep, so this was the fantastic game between Raymond Keene versus Kenneth J. Bowyer. Uh, Definitely, I think this was the most interesting question to ask, that what would be the right move to capture with the bishop, with the pawn or with the queen. So I think you can ask your friends as well to find the best move for black in the position, in this position. Yeah, it will help your friends to grow their level, and yeah, you will also be having fun. So if you all like this game, then please make sure to like the video, and if you're new to my channel, then please make sure to subscribe the channel, because it motivates me to upload new videos like this. So yep, so I'm going to come up with these new videos for you. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching Chess Vibes.